Hello everyone, Granite Roots. Today we are, I'm doing Wing 1 now with the Alacrity Heal Specter, so I'm not going to talk too much about mechanics, just about this build. If you saw the other video, you know the rotation's pretty simple. Scepter 2 off cooldown, and then use your wells, and then Shadow Shroud 3 into it to explode it to give you that barrier buff, which continues. So what I'm looking at here is, we had a kind of new guy on our team. You can see him at the bottom of my grid there. He keeps dying because he keeps getting ported and running off, which is okay, but you're going to see he's going to die. But watch the boons for everybody else that kind of knows what they're doing. And I really wanted to put this to the test on this wing because you have so much AOE damage that can really sap your shroud and limit what you're doing. I want to see if it really was limiting, and it really wasn't, which was nice. And you can bring people back up again. Just look at that with the heals and the barrier. So that all worked out pretty well. So just watch the boons, watch a lot of the rotation, positioning. That's important. See, he just got killed again. He was over in the wrong, has the wrong attunement, but that's okay. He was new. And what I like, and you'll see later at the end when we fight Sabetha, you're going to run into a lot of Shadow Shroud sapping because it's all AoE with the platform getting bombed and such. So this still has great upkeep on boons. It's just like any other build, hard to heal and keep boons up when people run away. One thing that you want to do that I didn't mention in the last one is when you start, before the actual fight starts, you want to use your F1 Shadow Steal skill on an ally in your party, in your subgroup that you know is going to be relatively close to the rest of the allies, so every time you go into Shroud, even if they're a little bit further away, if you're tanking or something, they'll still get the benefit of the Alacrity. Your stability comes from Shroud skill 5 and your Golden Well skill 7, can't remember what it's called, but you'll see it on my bar right there, skill 7. And of course this has good CC between Shroud skill 3, 5 and the 2 wells I have on there. Oop, no, I took the other elite well off. For this one went with Basilisk Venom. Probably should have gone with, I think the well probably would have been better. Maybe I'll try that next time. Did not do any tanking with this yet on here, but at some point I will. I did fool around because someone had a question about tanking. I did actually tank Deimos with this, but I didn't record it because they never got the win. It was a new group I was helping in a training group. But what I found useful there was shadow stepping for Mind Crush under the dome, even though you don't have Aegis, which worked out very well. Okay, here's the final rotation. Now this gets pretty crazy, but watch how my sub does with how nutty this gets, with Seekers being on us, grids going off, CC AoE that this boss does with the break bar right here. We got hammered, and of course you have the greens going off. So this build still does really well in this, despite all the AoE damage that can sap your Shadow Shroud when you're in Shroud and not get your rotation and Alacrity off. Of course, spamming up skill 2 brings them back up, and then the wells. And one thing you can do too, that you get Shadow Shroud for when you're when you drop a well on your allies, you get more Shadow Shroud increase, which is nice. And so sometimes you'll see me, even though it's not a CC moment, I will use one of my wells that just does CC, just so I can build up Shadow Shroud. You'll see that a lot more when we get to Sabetha, because that was a very challenging pull. Okay, here we go, Gorseval. My thoughts here was the black goop was going to sap the Shroud, and even though it's a relatively new group, we did very well. And if you get knocked down like I didn't, for whatever reason, my stability didn't work. I have blinding powder, which is a stun break, so you'll see I use that a couple times when I can't get the stability from my well or my Shroud out there in time. So there's just so much utility with this build. That time I had stability, which is nice. And you can see my man just going down at the bottom of my subgroup. I think this is his first time. When I looked at his AP was like 1600, and that's fine. I don't mind new guys, but just so you know, that's why that was happening. And this, I don't think they planned how they were going to do the souls. A lot of groups I go in, they split. They didn't do that, just running through, which is fine, but that's where you're going to see they get close this time and even closer next time. And next time I actually have to use Scepter 3, which is good. It's a momentary mobilize, which is nice. It slowed him down enough so that we didn't wipe. Okay, and just continue to look at the block of boons that we're able to maintain with this rotation, with this build. And of course, all the CC. In a second, you're going to see me. I think I dropped the well for this. Yeah, I do the big well. I didn't want to do it. I mean, I could have helped tank this bar faster, but I wasn't sure about our DPS, so I waited and just did the one elite well, because it has a bunch of pulses, so I can focus on other stuff. See that? Blinding powder back up. And we're phasing. So now you're going to see me rely more on Scepter 3 on the next spirit, just because they're getting dangerously close. So here we go, Scepter 3, quick mob, Scepter 3 again, quick mob, just enough time to get him before he absorbed them. So that was thankful. I was thankful for that. Of course, see I used the blinding powder. Watch out for the eggs. Haven't done this one in forever, so I'm actually surprised I didn't get grabbed by the eggs and actually remembered what to do. And don't forget your Shroud skill 3 is blast finishers. Every time you do a blast finisher, you get barrier. So I think I have the relic of Karakosa, whatever it is. So that's always useful. More eggs. Sidestep. Beautiful. See, I'm using the CC wells just so I can generate more Shadow Shroud. And if you're ever out of your shrouds and you do a burst heal like they're on cooldown, you can use Black Powder, Pistol skill 5, and then do your Shadow Shroud skill 3 into it to get some healing. Okay, this is going to be good. So the challenge to this is also watching out for the wells. I was wondering how people blowing bombs up on me and just the bombs from the cannons coming down. You're going to see that dude, for whatever reason, I can't even put boons on him. I don't know where he's at. Yeah, he's way out back. So he's new. He's not used to stacking, so he's not in the range of a lot of what I'm doing. Now that I can watch on video, I can really get a look at what in the world he's doing, which is okay, but that's... If you're ever in a group like this and you are new, that's fine. Just stay on your stack. Trust your healers. And you can see I use Steel off a cooldown, because you get good boons from that as well. And so our first round we did okay with the cannons. Then after that it just, I think people either died or forgot or whatever. So then it was good in the sense that it gave me a chance to really put this build to the test with Shadow. Shadow Shroud, how much it drains with the flak and all this AOE garbage on the platform. So, not as clean as I'd like it, but again, I think it was good for the test. Yeah, it can be nerve-wracking when you're trying to use wells right next to Sabetha, and she's got the flame wall open, because you know how janky sometimes that flame wall AOE can be. I will say this, for the most part, our peeps did a good job getting the bombs off the party, which was nice. And I use Shadow Shroud a little bit extra sometimes for some... I'll get that extra Fear skill 3 sometimes for extra burst on the AoE stuff, for some healing and barrier, for some finishers. Alright, we're getting there now. Snuckles, I'm going to drop my well first. So that's going to hit him as soon as he pops that. Beautiful. That way he can take the CC from my elite well, my other well, and then I can just finish my rotation. And she's almost a 40%. Nice. So far still no threat, no challenge with the maintaining Shadow Shroud for doing my Shroud skills. Okay, now you see my Shroud skills get a little bit more depleted, but when you use a well on top of allies, it goes right back up. Okay, now it's gonna start getting pretty brutal. Got 2 cannons up. We got some flamethrowers up. Sabetha's back. And I don't have much Shroud. I overstayed my welcome in Shroud for that one because I was trying to keep people healed so they could res that dude. Here we go, Shroud is back up to 50%. Enough for me to get 1 good rotation through for Alacrity to keep that up. Using Steel to help. Okay, and now I'm going to start using my other wells just so I can get some more Shadow Shroud because we totally need it. I mean, look at all the damage and AOEs, but look at the boons and the health of my party. Upkeeping that really well. You can see on screen all the blue numbers for barrier and heal. That's going well. So just look at this mess. And we're still doing, but watch the Shadow Shroud. This is kind of a real struggle trying to maintain that, stay out of as much of the junk as I can and still get my boons off. And again, I'm going to use that other well because I need as much generation of Shadow Shroud as possible. I had a full Shroud, watch it drop, just how much junk there is out there. Boom. But I got a full rotation, very nice. And she's almost down. And done. Well, that was fun. That was a good group, good run. So we can see this is still viable here. At some point I will do more direct tanking with it, but I'm going to try some other wings. I think the challenges to this build is when people spread out with certain mechanics, like I don't know even how Solo's Horror will look like. But as a stack healer, this is definitely very, very powerful. Either way, thank you for watching, and hope you all have a most excellent day.